It began with a thunder that sent my coffee cup flying off the table. At 5:47 a.m. I was woken up by the deafening sound of massive equipment and the acrid bite of churned earth. I staggered to my window and gazed in shock. On my own property, 15 serene acres about a mile beyond Odessa, Texas, a drilling operation was ripping up my pasture as if it were theirs. Survey stakes transected the ground. A behemoth rig stood like a predator along the border with Maple Grove Estates, the neighboring HOA horror. My name is Nathan Holt, retired water systems engineer. For a decade, this ranch has been my sanctuary. A modest farmhouse, a horse barn, and acres of open sky. I chose this land to escape HOA rules and suburban micromanagement. But that morning, peace ended thanks to Evelyn Mercer, HOA president and self-appointed queen of Maple Grove. She wasn't trespassing. She was attempting to drill a well on my property to prop up her posh neighborhood's ailing water system. She was on the verge of finding out how badly she'd underestimated. Maple Grove Estates was the sort of complex where lawns were neatly trimmed with precision and garage doors had to complement the HOA color scheme. Evelyn governed it with a clipboard, a forced smile, and a vice-like grip. Word was she'd been removed from another HOA for unsavory accounting practices. Now she was 3 years into her reign of terror at this place and she found my wooden ranch-style house an eyesore. The warning signs had been a week before when I saw her black Mercedes parked alongside the road. She was photographing my pasture, sunglasses covering her face. I waved. She didn't. Just drove away. I ignored it until the drilling began. That Tuesday, I trudged across the rutted mud to meet the crew. Evelyn was there, naturally, clipboard in hand, exuding smug authority. "Can I help you?" I said, not loud but firm. She spun, showing a cold grin. "Mr. Holt, we're putting in a community well for our gardens. Cost-saving measure." Being an ex-engineer, I knew precisely how dangerous this was. The water table there was temperamental, and more crucially, I knew something she didn't. There was an old but still functional water main lying under that land, decommissioned decades past but retained as a regional reserve. Drilling there was irresponsible. Hazardous. "Do you have permits?" I asked. Her smile constricted. "This is HOA business. You're not involved." I inquired about soil surveys. She dismissed me. "We're professionals." At home, I consulted older infrastructure maps. The well site rested directly atop the main. One misstep and she might cause a rupture that would destroy both our properties. I left a courtesy message at her office citing a boundary transgression. No reply. Instead, I got a letter reeking of legalese accusing me of hindering community development. I phoned an old buddy, Mike, at the water department. "Check pressure in Sector 9, I said to him. His tone hardened. "The main's still live, Nate. She's drilling into a disaster." Then the clincher. Evelyn had filed a temporary permit to drill using a phony homeowner's name, mine. The scheme was transparent, but it provided her with 30 days of unfettered access. I dug deeper and discovered she'd pushed through a new HOA rule permitting her to greenlight any project under $60,000 without a vote, rammed through a half-full board meeting. My retired electrician neighbor Carl whispered the motive behind motives. "She's still angry over the time you shot down her playground rezoning proposal. She's out for blood." By Thursday morning, the rig was roaring 40 feet away from my fence. I inquired once more about utility markers. "Already done," Evelyn snapped. There were no flags. No markers. Just attitude. One of the workers expressed concern about striking something hard. Evelyn shooed him away. Later, Carl passed me a note. "That water line's live. I repaired it this past summer. I nearly warned the city. Nearly. But then I thought. Let her dig her own grave." The next few days, things spiraled. My water pressure spiked, sign of stress in the line. Evelyn filed a complaint accusing me of harassing her crew. The city blocked Mike from intervening. Her lawyer and a private investigator showed up, photographing my old backhoe like it was a tank. "You'll regret this," they said. Then came the crack, literally. The crew hit something under the ground. Concrete and rebar materialized in chunks. The foreman quarreled with Evelyn. She immediately fired him. An inexperienced, greener crew was brought in. They did not know what they were drilling into. Carl called frantic. "Water's brown in HOA. Pressure's plummeting." Evelyn's blaming the city. Rather than quit, she doubled her efforts. Asserted the issues demonstrated they required the well. She even threw away a muddy, tainted water sample a worker brought in and called in a sealant truck to fix leaks. I placed a camera a half-mile away with a telephoto lens. Puddles accrued around the drilling location. Grass turned yellow from chemical spills. Then 11:47 p.m. on Saturday, the Earth side. A geyser blew out of the well site, water erupting 40 feet into the air. The flood poured downhill right into Maple Grove's $3 million clubhouse. Car alarms wailed. Patio furniture drifted through broken windows. The parking lot was a lake. Evelyn, bathrobe-clad and booted, was standing in the madness screaming my name. I taped it all. And then the surprise. At the preliminary hearing, the heat was on. The drill also cut a fiber optic cable, part of a $25 million regional internet upgrade. Evelyn had known. She'd held up the project for months to steer contracts into her cousin's shell company. The well was never about gardens. It was a cover for greed and sabotage. A reporter phoned. "Evelyn's blaming you." Got a comment. I grinned, holding up a USB stick full of footage, forged permits, and HOA records. "See me tomorrow. I have proof." Monday's emergency HOA meeting was Evelyn's undoing. She transformed the clubhouse into a war room, charts, pictures, even a slideshow fingering me for eco-terrorism. But as she ranted, each board member's phone rang. My attorney had sent them my complete dossier, evidence of documents being forged, illegal permits, whistleblower recordings, all of it. Carl rose and asked the question that sealed her fate. "Why did you sign Nathan Holt's name to fictitious permits?" She stuttered. "It's made up." Too late. There were federal agents in the rear, taking notes in silence. Evelyn ran from the room screaming about toxic waste secretly buried on my ranch. And that was her final error. She brought a federal suit alleging environmental terrorism against me. Her attorneys even presented forged soil samples stating I was concealing waste from the industrial history of the land. The media turned against me. Then the doors opened and walked in Dr. Emily Tran, an engineer with the EPA. She had a file of her own. Emily went on the stand and tore Evelyn's deceptions apart. The soil test results were forged by her cousin's lab. My property was clean. The contamination? Made up. And worse, Evelyn had been embezzling water supplies and blocking the internet from developing for personal gain. The courtroom was stunned. Evelyn shrieked, "Holt's laundering money." Good attempt. My attorney laid out my squeaky clean finances. Each dollar accounted for. The judge mandated a federal investigation into Evelyn's business. As they led her away in handcuffs, the web of deceit unraveled. Corruption, racketeering, phony permits, and millions in stolen contracts. The HOA was disbanded. The board replaced. They gave me a formal apology and a substantial settlement, which I invested in rural water initiatives across Texas. Other victims stepped forward. More suits followed. Congress even enacted oversight legislation, the Mercer Act, to rein in out-of-control HOAs. A few months later, I sat on my porch with my aging dog, Rusty, observing children playing beside the rebuilt clubhouse. A little girl pointed toward a new plaque. "To honesty and justice, lessons learned from greed's downfall." Her mother smiled. "The bad lady's in prison. The good man still lives next door." Evelyn's final threat, that I had a hidden past, turned out to be just another bluff. I joined a task force to stop HOA corruption nationwide. And my land still stands, quiet, defiant, free.